Tim Kuniskis is the head of all passenger cars at FCA, and Tim, you've got the wildest passenger car I've ever seen introduced by any car company in the history of the industry with the Demon.
Thank you.
And 840 horsepower.
840.
0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds.
0 to 60 in 2.3. If you include rollout, 2.1.
That's amazing. And quarter mile time?
Quarter mile, 9.65 at 140. That makes it the fastest quarter mile time of any production vehicle ever. So fast, in fact, that the NHRA has banned it from competition. They said we went too far.
So you guys got a gold star for achieving that. But tell me why you're doing a car like this. I mean, it's not like you're going to sell zillions of these cars.
No, absolutely. You know, there's always a question about doing halo cars. And this is a limited edition, serialized car. They're only going to build 3,000 of them in the US, 300 of them in Canada. So it's an awesome car. It's an amazing performance car, and it's going to be great for the 3,000 people that own it. But the real reason you build a car like this is the halo. And that's an overused term about the halo. But really, when you can take a car and take it outside of the enthusiast world and make it mainstream, that's when you can help build your brand.
But you're talking about making this mainstream about people talking about it.
People talking about it. And the important thing is to get claims. I call them the best and the most. Because the general market doesn't really know what your horsepower is, doesn't really care because it's not relatable. They don't care about your quarter mile times. But if you can tell them, I have the highest horsepower V8 ever made, oh, I get that. If you can tell them it runs 9.65, that doesn't really register. But if you can tell them it's the fastest quarter mile ever, and it's so fast it's been banned, and then if you can tell them the Guinness Book of World Records, not Dodge, but the Guinness Book of World Records says it's the only production car ever to pull a wheelie, they may not know what a car doing a wheelie is, but they see their kid doing it on a bike and they say, okay, nobody's ever done it. That's amazing. Now you're in general market claims. Those general market claims then become this rallying cry for all of the Dodge owners, all of the Dodge enthusiasts to say, I'm part of that. That represents me. That attitude, that personality is why I'm a Dodge owner.
Will it bring customers into the store and help you sell more cars?
It'll absolutely do that. We saw it with Hellcat. When we had the Hellcat, it created that halo and it sold us more Chargers and Challengers. You know, if you look in the industry, you know better than anybody, you see a shift over to CUVs and SUVs. Passenger cars are down about 25%. Charger and Challenger sales are actually up. And the mix of the higher performance cars is up even more than the total sales of those cars. So Hellcat did that. We think we'll be able to do the same thing with Demon.
Last night here in New York City, Pier 94, I think it
94.
was, you guys had the most brilliant new car introduction I've ever seen in the history of the industry. It was Las Vegas, it was Hollywood, it was Broadway, all wrapped into one. Tell me why you wanted to have such a big, and you had all kinds of famous people, beautiful people, and some of us from the media along for the ride too.
Last night was important for us because we said this is not a typical car. So we can't launch this like you do a typical car launch. We got to do something totally different for a couple of reasons. Number one, we've been driving people crazy, teasing this car for 12 weeks. So everybody was coming to New York probably thinking, hey, I know everything about this car. What are you going to tell me in New York? Well, what we held back was what I call the Big Five. The Big Five secrets, which was the big bomb that we dropped last night, was all the horsepower, all the performance, all the claims, all the Guinness Book of World Records, all that stuff. We said, if we're going to do that, we can't just roll it out and pull a sheet off it. We got to actually let people experience the visceral feel of a car like this. So we got to go off-site. We got to go, as much as we love the auto show environment, we got to go off-site and actually unveil this car, do a burnout, and show it launch, and right there live, everyone saw that car in a warehouse do a wheelie.
But you were also streaming it live, and I think I heard just now that you guys had it on the big board in Times Square.
Absolutely. We streamed it live literally across the world. There were 300 viewing parties across the world, Middle East, Europe, tons in the US, and it was streamed live in Times Square.
So have you gotten any of the feedback yet? What kind of numbers you were generating with all that?
So we know, it's tough to say because in the parties, it's only one IP address dialing in. So I don't know the true numbers, but the numbers that we've seen so far are well over 100,000 people watched it last night.
That's great. I love it. I wish more car companies would do that. I wish even you guys would do more of that kind of a thing with all your new car intros, because you know, this is what gets people excited about the business.
Thank you.
Tim, thanks so much for your time. Much appreciated.
Great talking to you.